over 300, so welcome. And as we move to the next slide, we will share with you our agenda. Philip? Okay. So just to give you the structure of the meeting, we'll welcome you. Jason will provide a brief Zoom orientation. We will introduce ourselves to you and share the purpose of our newly formed coalition. Then there'll be an opportunity to work with some poll questions that Sarah will be leading us through. And then we've assigned various group members to monitor and to join you in breakout rooms. So right now, I think we have 36 breakout rooms with approximately 8 folks. And then we'll also be collecting information through a Padlet, and we'll do a little Padlet orientation with you as well. Then you will go into your breakout sessions for small groups. And again, be mindful of taking notes in the Padlet, because as you will hear from each of us, this is really a co-creation of what particular issues, needs, and supports are needed within the field. So we definitely look forward to hearing from you. And then Claudia will jump on for the closing. Through it today, folks, that you will be able to access it both through Matt Saul's website, Mabe's website, and also it'll sit somewhere on the LaSalle University website as well. So greetings to everyone. We're up to 161 folks. We just went through the welcome slide, and I would like to introduce our members. Oh, Jason, I guess you're going to do the Zoom in meeting controls first.
Oh, you're muted.
Thank you, Jason. You all are at the inaugural event for the newly formed Coalition for Equity, Diversity, and Disability, or CEDD. The founding members are representatives from the Matt Saul group, and this afternoon that was Helen Solorzano and Jason Fay. The Mabe group, which is Phyllis Hardy and Maria Wilson Cricando, in LaSalle University, represented by Claudia Rinaldi, Sarah Nino, and myself, Joni McGee. Along on this call today is also some of our supporting members, and that will be Robai Wangera from UMass Lowell, and other folks involved in our as supporting members are Mira, UMass Boston, represented by Lusa Lowe, as well as a Mass Advocates for Children, Federation for Children with Special Needs. I believe Susan O is on the call today as well, and the Mass Council for Exceptional Children. In the next slide, we will learn more about why we came together as a coalition and our purpose. So initially, we formed a coalition for the interdisciplinary collaboration to address the needs of linguistically and culturally diverse students with disabilities and their families. And we really stress that interdisciplinary collaboration, and we were all sharing as we saw the participants how many special education colleagues and friends are out there. So welcome, and please join us on our journey. Some of the initial goals that we had when we formed the coalition were to bring the voices of students, families, and educators to the development and implementation of policy, practices, and initiatives impacting diverse students with disabilities. Additionally, to impact opportunities, achievements, and outcomes in programming and services for these diverse students with disabilities, as well as their families. And then lastly, to improve the supports and services for diverse students with disabilities, and that will kind of be the focal point for this afternoon's open house. And so if we could look at the next slide. Thinking just the structure of the open house this afternoon is to introduce the coalition, which we have. And today's meeting will really focus on issues and considerations that are occurring through remote learning during this COVID-19 pandemic. Specifically looking at sharing practices that are working well. What is working for you as you're working remotely with this student population in terms of teaching and learning? And then what are some of the challenges that you're facing, as well as what are some of the wonderings that you still have that are presenting during your remote teaching from your prospective roles? And then at the end, we would like to share some resources for teaching remotely with students who are linguistically and culturally diverse, as well as working with their families. There's some great professional development opportunities that are coming up, as well as some links that you can find some resources. And it's also providing our coalition with an understanding of the current EL, DL, students with disability landscape. Like, what is that landscape that's out there right now as we think about co-creating supports? And again, we're going to share with you that this is an ongoing process for you and with you. Okay, thank you. And the next slide.
So I'm sorry.
I'm going to turn it over to my friend and colleague, Sarah Nino.
First of all, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. This is truly a special occasion where we all come together because we are so invested in doing what's right and what we can do together to do what's right for students. And so right now, we're just going to open up a poll where we're just going to see who's in the room, essentially, right? So if any of you have these different options, ESL teacher, classroom teacher, special educator, or perhaps you have a role or identify in a role that is not on this list, if you could select other, just so we can see who is in the room. So I'm going to go ahead and start this poll.
Oh, sorry, I already launched it. Let me do it again.
Sorry. So while you're not able to see my screen, I'm able to see who is responding in terms of the percentage of participants. And I can also see, responses for any given categories like ESL teacher, classroom teacher. Right now, it seems that we have about 1/3 of our participants are ESL teachers. We have some school psychologists and speech and language pathologists, and also some administrators. I think we might also have some paraprofessionals out there. While it's not on our list, I know that there was interest with paraprofessionals attending. Okay. Well, it looks like we have roughly most of our participants that have responded. And Jason, is it possible for you to post those responses to share?
They're already posting.
Okay.
I think someone else clicked on it. So actually, during this time, any other co-hosts, please do not click on anything during the posts, during the polls, okay? Yeah, someone stopped the polling early too. But yeah, it's already being shared. Majority is ESL teacher.
Perfect. Can we move on to the next slide?
Yep.
Okay, so now we have another poll right now that we're hoping that you'll engage in. And so right now we're looking at 3 different questions that we'd like your responses to. And the first one is related to the guidance that's been provided to you and your schools about meeting the needs of English learners and dual language learners with disabilities during COVID-19. And so for this, we have a single choice option. So yes, you received guidance, no, or you don't know. The other question is, if guidance was provided, how useful did you find it? Was it very useful, somewhat useful, not useful, or did it not really apply, or you think it didn't really apply? And then the third would be, how are you staying connected to families? And so we have multiple answers for this. So you can respond to using more than one. So for example, you can select phone or email, both of them. So if we could go ahead and have that poll, Jason. So it looks like we have, again, for number 1 poll here, what was guidance provided to you? So we do have the majority of you saying that yes, guidance was provided. If guidance was provided, how useful was it? The majority of you find it somewhat useful. And then 2, how are you staying connected to families? And I see a significant number with phone and email. And then we have some others there. And if you do have other, and if you feel comfortable, you can always enter that into the chat box. When for our previous poll, we did see that there are some people that wear multiple hats. So just selecting one role didn't apply necessarily. So the same goes here for the poll for guidance. If you'd like to add a little bit of information in there, you can as well.
All right, and we are sharing results right now.
Okay. So it looks like the majority, yes, did receive guidance. It was somewhat useful. And still the majority of communication, phone and email, and then also some other here. And we say other talking points, Google Meets, Google Classroom, Zoom, distance home visits. So we see that there are a lot of different, Google Call, Google Chat with students and families. So we do see other things here as well. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
So now what we would like for you to do is consider the questions that we just asked you for the poll and to discuss your answers to the polls, the guidance and the connecting with families, and think about what's been working so far, what are the challenges, and what might be some additional wonderings that you have surrounding supporting students and families during the COVID crisis.
Okay, and so in the breakout groups, sorry, I've been doing that all throughout the presentation. We will put you into 42 breakout rooms because we had a large number register. So these breakout rooms are set. As of right now, you have about 3 to 4 people in each breakout room. I'm sure that number will grow because we are getting people coming in, trickling in. So in your breakout rooms, please unmute yourself and start your video. Introduce yourselves and then respond to the polls with the successes, challenges, wonderings, and resources. One person can volunteer to be the group facilitator, make sure everyone has equal time to speak, and also use the Padlet to take notes as a group. Okay, next slide. So again, you will get a document that has all of this information. When we initiate breakout rooms, you will see your room number. So go to your room number and click and use that Padlet. We're doing this because we don't want Padlet to go down if there's a large number of us. And so, Phyllis, would you like to explain how I use Padlet?
Sure. Okay, I'm going to get out of this scene for a minute and open up my actual Padlet. Can you see my Padlet, everybody, or somebody?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So you'll see there's a plus sign. We have different columns, sharing of practices, challenges, wonderings, resources, and other. All you need to do is click on a plus sign and then write something. For example, I only met with half of my families. And then hover outside of that white box where you were typing and click, and it publishes what you wrote. If you want to change your mind or edit it, just hover the top right corner and you can delete it, edit it. I'm just going to say, I'm going to delete it to show you that I can do that. And we're back to square one. So you're adding the plus sign, writing something, hovering outside and publishing it. There are lots of different things that you can do in the bottom as well. Like if you like what somebody says, click the heart and then it says that you're liking it. Okay, Jason, I'm going to go back to you in a minute.
Okay. So we are going to send out this document. You can go ahead and open it. Let me get the link here. It is going to be in your chat box. So open your chat box and you should see a document that you can link to. This will be your breakout room cheat sheet. You have the breakout norms written in there and your discussion questions in there as well. All right, I am going to open up breakout rooms now. Please take note of your number and then go to the corresponding Padlets.
And I just see everyone populating. It's nice to see everyone's faces. See a lot of colleagues there. That's nice.
Yeah. So welcome back. Please turn off your video when you're back in the main room. Thank you, everyone.
Here, Maria. So we're just waiting. Phyllis, are you able to share your, thank you. And we were going to have Claudia, but Phyllis, would you like to share next steps, or would you like for me to do it? Just to change up voices?
Well, Claudia is here.
I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here.
Hi, Claudia. Now I see you. Do you want to go ahead with the next step slides?
Sure. So continuing with the next steps is for us to kind of review, and for all of you who could access the Padlet at any point, and see what the shared ideas and what could be helpful. Also good to share the challenges and read what others are experiencing, and kind of feel like we have some space to just air those out. I think it's also healing for us, and probably stimulating ideas. We will be reviewing the Padlets and identifying future topics. So I think that's our bigger goal, is to create this coalition so that we could give you some support in terms of how to do those new practices that we're having to do via Zoom or Google Meets or those kinds of areas. Of course, we're really focused on the English learners who are potentially struggling or with a disability. So we're going to be really keen on those particular topics. We wanted to provide you with some links right now. One is the Bilingual Special Education blog, which the web address is there and you'll have in your presentation. We are creating a coalition website, so that'll be forthcoming. The MATSO website, of course, has all the links and information as you also register there. We'll have the Facebook for the MAVE organization as well, and the MAVE website. And of course, we also have, next slide, the Coalition for Equity and Diversity resources coming up as we finish this webinar. And lastly, there is a couple of courses that are coming out for those of you who want to learn in the higher ed space that we're offering. So Joni, Sarah, and I will be teaching our courses in the graduate certificate in teaching bilingual English learners with disabilities. The courses are and have been always fully online, and they're 6 weeks, and you could take them for PDPs or graduate credit. The one starting immediately in 2 weeks is removing barriers for classroom assessment and instruction of bilingual students. And in the middle of the summer, Sarah and Maria Serpa will be focusing on assessment of equity inclusion of bilingual students with and without disabilities. And we're going to be tweaking the information to address the issue of COVID and what we've learned from this experience ourselves and what the leaders in the different fields are coming up, including technology. The CEDD PD Committee on Bilingualism and Diversity webinar is coming up May 27, and there's a link for signing up for that one as well. The CEC is the Council for Exceptional Children, and DDEL is the Division for Diverse Learners, and Rabai is a leader in that group, so I encourage everybody to attend. That's a national webinar, and you could go directly through that link. And NEA is also having a free-to-view 2-part webinar for English learners in a distance learning environment, and the link below as well. So at least we leave you with some additional places to go with various different delivery methods. If you had questions, you could reach out to any of us, and we're happy to provide you with the information that we have. I know somebody asked whether they could get a certificate of attendance to this workshop. I'm sure one of us is happy to give it to you. I provided my email. I'm happy to give you one that says LaSalle University and you attended this 1 hour. So for now, I have nothing else, but perhaps Joni, you might want to close up fully.
Sure. Thank you, Claudia. It's just so great to work with the folks that are in this current coalition. So thank you all. And we want to thank you, the audience, and please continue adding your thoughts to the Padlets. Again, it's co-creation of what supports are needed in the fields. CEDD will set up future open house meetings, so the information, as Claudia said, that you have in the Padlets will also help us to fine-tune certain specialized trainings. And I've heard a few ideas when we were monitoring the breakout sessions. And then please check out the resources that we have provided, whether it's one of their professional development opportunities that are provided between MABE or MATSL or CEC or LaSalle University. I know my class is starting on May 19th. And thank you for being there. Thank you, Jen, and for all the folks. And we look forward to continuing our work with you. Thank you all.
And Johnny, I just want to acknowledge that a lot of people said thank you for the webinar. So thank you for that feedback as well. Provide us with ways that we could do it better for next time. I know some people really enjoy the breakout sessions and listening to each other. So thank you so much.